So this is the pictorial part of my lesson. I'm making my video, and I guess I'll just begin. So class, we're talking about the Space Needle today, and I want to show you kind of a mini version of how it was built. Because it was built a long time ago, we don't have a good image of what it was built like with good footage, but there are a lot of Lego Space Needles, which is little blocks you build together to make a Space Needle, and I have this really fun little video. So let's watch that, and then we'll start with our picture together. And then a 25-second video plays. Okay, class, so we are going to be working on a map and fact pictorial of the Space Needle. Now, as you can see, it's just blank right now. I'm going to give you a lecture, and while I'm doing this, I'm going to make sure to fill this out with information about the Space Needle. To start, why don't we put a picture of the Space Needle right in the center so we can add things to it. And right at the top, I'm going to write the Space Needle. The Space Needle. Now, the Space Needle is an important part of the Seattle skyline. Do any of you guys know what a skyline is? Okay, well, I'm going to show you. It's one of our key words, so I want you guys to think about it. Now, a skyline is where buildings, you can imagine these are buildings, reach the sky. So the Space Needle kind of gives this image of a line where all the different Seattle buildings meet the sky. Now, I'm going to make sure to write the word skyline in this color green. So when you look at the map later, you know that it's an important word. This will be our keyword color. And I'll write that in the corner, keyword color. Keyword color. So this is the skyline. Now, we learned the word landmark last week. Do any of you guys think the Space Needle is a landmark? Talk to your person next to you, and decide if the Space Needle is a landmark. Okay. Have any of you thought maybe about it? Is it a landmark? Is it not? I then proceed to call on maybe one or two people. Well, the Space Needle is a landmark and was named by the city of Seattle as a landmark in 1999. And a lot of times, we call it the symbol of Seattle. Now, do you remember in your last lesson you looked at the word symbol? I'm going to write the word, just so we remember it, in the corner. Symbol of Seattle. Right here. Right above here. Symbol of Seattle. Now, I want you guys to remember, I'm going to go back over it. Okay, symbol, remember when the thumbs up thing happened? Thumbs up, it means good. It doesn't mean thumb up, it means good. So, symbol of Seattle is the Space Needle. And yes, it is a landmark. All right, now the Space Needle is an observation tower. Observation is another key word. So let's make sure to get that down. The Space Needle is an observation tower. Here. First, why don't we split this map up into two sections? We're going to go facts in one corner, and all of that is going to be over here in orange, facts. And then on this side, in dark blue, we're going to write structure. So the facts is more history and information. The structure is like how it was built, reasons it was built the way it was. So under facts, we have observation tower. So observation Observation tower. Now, observation is a key word. Can any of you guess what observation might mean? Observation is to look at something. So from the very top, you can look at everything. You can observe it. Just kind of watch everything. And the Space Needle, it was built in 1962. So let's write that down. Built in 1962 for the World's Fair. For the World's Fair. Now, do any of you guys know what a World's Fair would be? The World's Fair is it's a really big event that we hold in different parts of the world, and it's just a giant fair where people kind of convene and meet together and discuss things about maybe that city, cool things internationally, and Seattle hosted it in 1962. Now, 10 million people came to the World's Fair. 10 million people came. That's a lot of people. 10 million people. And 2.3 million of those people, 2.3 million, went in the Space Needle. That's so many. 2.3 million went in the Space Needle. A lot of people. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the structure of the Space Needle. The structure, how it was built, what it was built for. Now, the Space Needle is 605 feet tall. So let's draw a little arrow. And we know it's 605 feet. That's really tall, all the way at the top, 605 feet. And it was built out of steel. So it's all steel, all the way up. That's right, steel. So we know it's all steel and 605 feet tall. Now, I found a source saying that the Space Needle weighs 9,550 tons. Can anybody guess what a ton is? A ton is 2,000 pounds. So let's write a ton, right by structure, ton equals